and welcome to Let's Get Real, a show where we discuss and debate all things from film and television. I'm your host, Sarah Johnson, and today we're going to be talking about two of arguably the best TV couples of all time, Ross and Rachel from Friends and Jim and Pam from The Office. Speaking with us today is Kat Wells, creator of the infamous World Best Boss mug, and Stephen Carlton, author of Central Perks of Ross and Rachel's Relationship. So let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. So this one's for you, Stephen. Why do you believe that Ross and Rachel are the superior TV couple?
Okay. Ross and Rachel, they have a history. I'm not always saying that history is going to make a great relationship, but generally the more history you have, the more memories you have. And Ross and Rachel, they knew each other in high school. Ross loved Rachel, had a huge crush on her. Maybe she didn't love her back, but when they got out of school, when they start living on their own in New York City and they're living in their apartments, they hook back up, they start hanging out again, and then they get back into another crush, and they have a couple of fallouts, right? But all relationships have that. That's part of life. They get back together a bunch of times. They take a questionable break. They break up. They date a few other people, and then they have a baby together. All right. So even though they had a couple of hurdles to get there, they're a great relationship. They're great people, and now they have a family.
Yes, as we know, babies make love, right?
Babies.
That's what makes a relationship well.
That's what makes it.
And what about you, Kat?
Ross and Rachel are the high school couple who constantly break up and get back together, and it's just dramatic, and they're not really maybe supposed to even be together. Jim and Pam are soulmates. We see them as best friends, and they support each other and care about each other just in that relationship. And then when they get together, it's totally natural and it makes sense because they knew each other so well beforehand, equally, not just like an obsession from high school.
I'm gonna interject because I would argue that those hurdles sometimes make it a better relationship because that means that you've had conflict, you've had mistakes. I feel like a relationship, I'm not saying that problems obviously are a great thing, but like generally you figure things out after those problems. So I think it's good that they have had those hurts, they have had those breaks because those breaks have turned them into a better understanding relationship.
Well, so do Jim and Pam. Jim goes to Stanford because he can't take Pam getting married, and in that time, she breaks up with Roy, becomes a more assertive person, starts being more honest with people, and Jim goes through a rebound with Karen, and then eventually realizes his true feelings are still with Pam.
Okay, so we're going to just move on from that question. Can you guys give us an example of a specific moment or scene where you kind of knew that your couple that you're arguing for was unlike any TV couple you had ever seen before? Stephen, we're going to start with you.
Absolutely. Okay, so Ross is getting married. He's getting married to Emily. He's up there. He's ready to go. He's ready to do this thing. And he says Rachel's name instead of Emily's. So bang, automatically you can tell that he's not thinking about the girl right in front of him. He's thinking about Rachel.
Or Ross is just kind of an idiot.
Ross isn't an idiot. He's not an idiot. All right. He's goofy, but that's part of who he is. It doesn't mean he's an idiot, though.
Well, season 2, episode 1, The Dundies. Pam gets super drunk in a Chili's and gets a lifelong ban, and it's a great episode. But during this, she's falling all over, accidentally kisses Jim, and you can tell that they've both kind of been denying that they like each other, and then you see their faces afterward and you're like, oh, they're not just friends, this is a thing.
I have to interject here. Do you think that maybe that drunken kiss was just a drunken mistake, just like your Ross's mistake of saying the wrong name was just a silly fluke?
Well, you could argue that, but I think that seeing Pam interact with Jim in the office makes it obvious that it's more than just a drunken mistake. Like, her best friend in the office is Jim, and she's jealous when he starts to date Katie, the hot girl from season 1.
Well,
the episode is called Hot Girl.
Katie was the hot girl, yeah.
I mean, it happened by accident, right? Like, you can say that's cute and that's funny and that's like, that makes them better, but like, I'm going back to the history point. And even though, like I keep saying, they have these breaks, but they keep coming back to each other, and even though it's not the greatest example, Ross is about to get married, and here he is thinking about his high school crush, the girl he has all these memories with. Like, that is the most, Ross is a serious guy. This is a wedding. Like, he knows he's about to get married. Like, he's goofy, but like, any man that is going through that kind of cycle in his head, and he's ready to back out of that to go back to his girl, now that's just true love to me.
Stephen, I'm going to have to cut you off here, I'm sorry. But as you both know, there are certain characteristics that qualify a couple to be #relationship goals. So what characteristics do Ross and Rachel have that are different from Jim and Pam, in your opinion?
I would agree that I would say both couples are a little goofy in the sense that they like to have fun, they have those moments, but I would say Ross and Rachel are more, they're not high class, but they really, with those career goals, they're driven. They have a lot of integrity. They really care about what they're doing. They care about each other. Even when Ross was getting married, Rachel, she was happy for him. Oh, get married, like I love you. Well, excuse me, didn't say that. She was like, I'm happy for you. Like, it doesn't matter what they've been doing in their lives. They've always wanted each other to be happy. And I think that's a really important factor of empathy as a human being. And especially in this case, they're just good people. And
well, Jim and Pam have that too. Like, Pam is trying to decide whether or not to go to art school, and her fiance Roy tries to talk her out of it. And Jim is the only one who says, "No, like you need to do this for you. You don't want to be a receptionist forever." And he's the only one who like pushes her to try to move further along in her career. And Pam sells their house at the end of the series so that Jim can take the job that he wants.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Did everyone for this couple, did Pam and all of them, like, did their friends think that, wow, these guys are meant to be? The people around the office say, wow, like they should date? Because with Ross and Rachel,
Yes, in Cafe Disco, Pam is like, "Hey, Phyllis," or not Cafe Disco, the barbecue at Jim's house. Anyways, Pam's like, "Phyllis, are there any secret office romances going on?" And Phyllis is like, "You tell me." And Pam is talking about Dwight and Angela. We can talk about them too, but it's Phyllis just assumes it's Jim and Pam because everyone can see that they love each other and need to be together.
okay.
Well, guys, I'm sorry to cut you off again, but that looks like it's all the time we have here today. Thank you both so much for joining us. Up next on Let's Get Real, we debate whether or not Dwight Schrute was the assistant regional manager or assistant to the regional manager. Stay with us.